So let's get right into it. You don't believe in who you are, which is why you self sabotage. Because deep down inside, you don't believe you deserve the life that you say you want. You don't believe you deserve the things that you want out of life, you desire out of life. So, anytime you actually get close to getting those things, you self sabotage. Because inherently, deep down inside, those itty bitty parts of your soul that you run away from, that you're like, why the fuck am I feeling like this? Why am I having these thoughts and these emotions? Why do I feel unworthy? Why do I feel like a fraud? It's because you don't believe you deserve those things. you know I've seen this in myself. I started getting the fine women, you know what I mean? The business clients, the money started coming in, and instead of feeling like, yeah, I'm that dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm that man. I started feeling like a bitch. Straight up. My nervous system was like, motherfucker, bro, you gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me. So what did I do? I reverted back to the man who could not hold everything that he wanted out of life. Because the Most High gives us what we can handle, not what we think we want or what we say we can handle. He gives us what we can handle. And sometimes, though, a blessing will be that He'll give you what you cannot handle so you can understand and learn the mechanism of where you lack as a man. Because sometimes we need hard lessons in our life to learn the hard way. Unfortunately, we're stubborn fucking creatures, unfortunately. So, for myself, I observe that within myself. But deep down inside, everything that you've been building towards, you don't believe you deserve it. And how does this show up? You procrastinate. You avoid the work that actually moves the needle forward. You don't have a problem with discipline or consistency. You have a problem with actually committing to what's going to get you to break through. You know, Most oftentimes than not, we procrastinate months of work, but that doesn't look like you being inconsistent or you not doing shit. What it looks like is you consistently showing up, but not moving in the same standard and intensity that you need to actually attract what you say you want. Because all life is a spiritual game. It's an energy game. When you are moving off a frequency of someone that doesn't actually believe they can get what they want, you self sabotage when you actually do start getting what you want, because you're not actually open to those blessings. You don't actually believe you deserve them. There's parts of you that are fighting within and saying, can I actually handle those responsibilities? Can I actually handle that 9 out of 10 woman that's going to drive me crazy because she's so fine that I'm already thinking about, what if I lose her and I don't really believe I could go get another one like this? Or can I actually handle being a business owner and making more money than my mind has ever imagined, without saying to myself, fuck, I don't know if the spotlight is going to kill me, or the pressure, or I have to stay being who I am, and stop waiting for myself to be exposed. This all goes down to us not truly believing we deserve what we say we want. And that's a fucked up way to really, a really fucked up state to be in. It means your heart has been wounded, you've been traumatized in some type of way. So now your mind runs this story, it runs this story to keep you stuck where you are. This is why many men will settle on women they don't really want to be with, because they'll say to themselves, good enough. Good enough. You know what you're saying to yourself when you say that? Oh, you know what, bro? Like, the woman that you really want, the business that you really want, this is good enough. I don't really believe in myself the way I think I do, so this is good enough. I'll just settle here. I'll just settle here. Dudes will tell you that they settled for what they could get. Say it all the time. You're settling on yourself. That's all that tells me, is you're settling on yourself. Sometimes, when it comes to the relationship aspect, you'll reflect and say to yourself, how aligned is this woman with my ideal woman? And then you'll settle. And that settling is a reflection of your own spiritual state of who you are and where you're settling in life. Because that's a pattern. That's a pattern of behavior that you settle, that you're not putting in your best effort that you know you can be. And it's all an energy game because you get what you put out. Straight up. You get what you put out. You could be doing things but still not putting the amount of energy that you need to. You could be putting in time but still not putting the amount of focus that you need to. And you know it. This could be like going to the gym every day, 5 times a week, but it's not getting the same level of intensity that you were giving it when you had something to prove, when you had something to really work towards. Which is why many men like to, they don't like maintenance because maintenance is very fucking boring. It's very like monotonous. It doesn't feel like shit. But really, when things begin to feel like that, that's expression of who you are. And the great thing about expression is that you could control exactly how you show up. When you're trying to prove and perform, you cannot control how you show up. You see yourself in flashes of potential, where you have seasons where you're this guy who's super focused and he's super locked in. He's bold with the women, he's confident all across the board, and then you fucking slip back to the version of yourself you don't like, and then back to square one. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I is a choice that you make. How are you gonna show up? When I ask myself, the question, am I really putting in the level of output that I need to galvanize myself to transcend the man that I am today? I said to myself, no, I'm not. And many men will not be real with themselves about that. How can you tell yourself to your face that everything you've been building, you don't actually believe you deserve it? Of course, you believe in yourself. There is a part of you that does, but you're not actually operating all the way through. You're double-minded, and a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Now, when you fully commit and you walk into the responsibility that you've been avoiding, you will begin to actually shift your reality. This is not a mindset. This is an identity. This is who I am, and this is why I'm going to do it. Proving yourself says, once I get here, then I will feel like expressing and choosing who you are says, this is who I am. This is why I do it the way I do it. This is who I am. This is a part of who I am. A lot of you guys perform confidence. You're not confident. You perform strength. You're not strong. You perform intensity. You're not intense. Those are things that are in you and are part of you. They cannot be faked. They could be acted on, where the saying goes, fake it till you make it. But the true goal is really, can that live inside of you and can it radiate off of you? Most oftentimes than not, it doesn't, because you don't believe you deserve everything you want out of life. But really, you don't really believe that you don't deserve to be yourself without some type of mask, without some type of performance, without some type of, material item to define who you are. I always talk about on this channel that's playing life very reactive. We get to choose who we want to be. We get to choose our character, just like a video game. And that makes life so much funner. Because now you're not being manipulated by your subconscious, by your limiting beliefs telling you that you cannot do X, Y, Z. Why? Why can I do X, Y, Z? I have eyes, I have ears, I have a mouth, I have 2 legs, I have 2 arms. Hopefully everybody does. If you don't, that's unfortunate. But you can still do it. You can still do it. And I'm not a motivational coach or anything like that, but it's the truth. We limit ourselves, we allow ourselves to be limited. To quote Yoda, we are luminous beings. There's been, this talk about aura. A man's aura is really magnified when he truly believes in who he is. And that's not only, based off of ambition, based off of how much money you have, based off of the physique you have, based off of the woman that you want, based off of X, Y, Z approval from other people. That's based off of how much You're willing to actually recognize who you are. A lot of ambitious men, they don't actually recognize who they are. They don't actually know who they are. They don't actually see who they are. So they find themselves chasing, women to feel seen, feel loved, feel worthy. Approval from higher authority figures that they perceive are higher authority, their bosses, their fathers, other men in their life, great men. And then they ask themselves, why do I shrink up around those men? It's because you're still letting them define who you are, you know? And when you have this attachment, your identity is attached to these things, it builds an identity for you that you don't really believe you deserve what you want out of life. Because inherently, you know that other people are manipulating what you want out of life. And you don't actually know what it is about what you're saying you want, why you're doing it. A lot of men have been poisoned by the self-improvement space to want things out of the lack of not having women, out of the lack of, not having status or presence. Presence is conviction in who you are. I know who I am. Do you know who you are? Have you defined who you want to be, how you want to show up? Because all it is permission. Most men today are just looking for permission to be themselves. But they outsource it to women, to their parents, family, society. Why need permission to be who you are? You're given that spirit, that soul for a reason. You're given your body for a reason. You're given, your essence for a reason. And you're asking permission from someone else to be who you are when that's already a God-given gift. And if you're seeing this video, you're being called into that liberty to be who you are unapologetically. Sometimes I feel like as men, we conflate that with being this fucking arrogant asshole that just shames people and talks shit on people. But no, we keep the essence of who we are, especially if you're pure-hearted, that you have a big heart and you want to do good by people. You keep the essence of who you are. So inherently deep down, everything that you say you are, everything that you believe yourself to be or you've seen of yourself, the reason you never actually get what you want out of life is because you don't believe you deserve it. You allow stories, wounds, traumas, other people's projections of doubts and fears to limit who you are. Therefore, it's keeping you from actually walking into the man that you need to be to get what you want out of life. So you find yourself shrinking up in other rooms with people, not really putting your best foot forward in the business that you're building, not really putting your 100% that you know that you can be and whatever it is that you're cultivating. Yeah, it all goes back to that. You don't believe you deserve what you want out of life. So you settle and cut yourself short. Dropped an ebook. It's in the description down below. I'm going to drop a program. This is a declaration. It will be the 1% man, and I will be building you personally to the 1% man, and I will be identifying your identity and where you're still leaking, where you're still attached, so that way you could become the man that you need to become to get everything you want out of life. Consultation calls will be down below if you want to speak with me one-on-one. I've done this multiple times with myself, with other men, and this is something that I implore every man to do in their life. Because the greatest gift a man can have is not status, it's not presence, it's not, money, it's not women. Those are all a byproduct of who you are. It's the ability to be himself, to be liberal, at liberty in a society that is waiting for you to fail. Program is down below. Consultation calls down below. Program is coming soon, sorry. Consultation calls down below. Ebook is down below. It's going to give you the entire mechanism of exactly why you keep betraying who you're meant to be. Peace.